All right, hello, I'm Jay Berman. Welcome to the New York Giants Squad Show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Could the Giants solve their Windy City problems? We'll find out.
I am Brandon Olson, and can I please have a new head coach now?
I'm Mark Collins, two-time Super Bowl champion. How many ways can this team lose?
Let's go, Big Blue. It's the New York Giants squad. Everything New York Giants every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the G-Men. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. The Giants Squad Show starts now.
All right, we are back. As we said, it's Brandon, it's Mark, and it's Jay. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Somehow, we're doing another show after a game that gets away. In the leadoff spot today, of course, is the great Mark Collins, who has some not nice things to say about yet another collapse. What went wrong today, Mark?
You know what? It's amazing. They look so good. First of all, the uniforms.
Yeah.
The uniforms were
No doubt about it.
They look beautiful. But the game was played kind of the way I was expecting. Keep it close, defense show up, offense show up a little bit later, but it was kind of nip and tuck, pretty comfortable. I felt comfortable in it. And then I felt that fourth quarter, and I'm skipping over a lot of stuff we'll talk about. I start feeling that feeling. You know the feeling you get like in your gut that, hey man, something's about to go wrong. I felt it. The penalties came. A couple of questionable calls came, and then the outcome in itself. And I'm sick.
Brandon, it's all yours.
That was one of the least enjoyable experiences in a while. And I've been watching this team for a while, and that one. I mean, once Jaxson Dart left the game, honestly, I was like, that they're not doing anything on offense, so the defense really needs. Like once he came out, it was pretty clear they weren't going to do anything on offense, and so it needed to go all on the defense. Personally, I'm good if Deonte Banks is not playing for this team anymore. I'm good with that one. I try not to be like the overly harsh guy. It's just like at a certain point you're fixable, but you might not be fixable here. And I think that I've come to that point with Deonte Banks. It's not going to happen for the New York Giants with him. And I think that we've seen enough to say coaching staff can go. It's no longer, how many wins do they need? What's the number? What's this? What's that? Look at how good Jaxson Dart's playing. Look at how good he looks as a rookie. I feel like by extending this, you're just delaying the inevitable at this point. And I'm not saying you need to make the decision now. I know that that's not a thing that always happens right away, but I think I'm good with this being the last year for Brian Daboll as the head coach of the New York Giants.
Mark, the Giants are now 0-4 this season in games in which they led by 10 or more points on the road. Now, obviously, this is not a Super Bowl team, but that being said, those types of leads on the road are hard to give up, and the Giants managed to do it not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times.
Yeah, I would say they're great at doing that. So, at some point, and me playing 13 years and playing some great teams and some great coordinators, you got to know how to close a game. Whether offense or defense, you got to know how to close out a game. You got a 10-point lead, and you can't call plays to keep the clock running and move the ball downfield. On defense, you can't make certain calls to slow an offense down or to let them go 20-yard line to 20-yard line to keep the clock running and keep the goal in the reach of you winning that game. I've seen this team just today, 25 minutes ago or less, give up a 91-yard drive on defense. 91 yards. You can't close that out? You can't stop that? That to me, and I know we talk about coaching changes and that's debatable. I'm all for that. When to do it is debatable. Let's put it that way. But that tells me that this whole regime, they're not on the same page. They can't close out games. There is no complete game plan to even win games. There's no consistency in anything except losing like this. And that's bad.
11 in a row, Mark and Brandon. 11 in a row away from home. 300, it'll now be 400 days. 400 days since week 5 of last season in Seattle, which I'm still remembering well. I'm surprised they won that game. That being said, Brandon, 400 days since a road win. That is hard to believe.
Yep. And it's entirely possible that runs into next season. I just want to make everybody aware of that one. You've got at the Lions, at the Patriots, and at the Raiders. And so maybe that Raiders one is the one that we're all thinking like, oh, that's a winnable game. But this game was a winnable game. The Broncos game was a winnable game. Like we've seen so many winnable games where this team just, it's like they opt out of finishing the fourth quarter. I don't think I've ever seen a team as consistently awful in the fourth quarter as this team has been. And, you know, Mark, you mentioned like they can't close out plays. They can't close out anything. How many times did they have Caleb Williams just in the backfield, just hit, wrapped up? And not a single sack, nothing. They just kept living. And the 2 times that they did get sacks was on the first drive, I think it was, or maybe second drive. Dexter Lawrence gets a sack, but there's a penalty in the back end there. And then Abdul Carter gets the sack, and there's a Deontay Banks illegal contact in the end zone. And so twice you actually get home and you actually finish the play, and something else screws it. This is a team that is just consistently shooting themselves in the foot. And frankly, they're not talented enough to do that. Like there are some teams where you could say, hey, like we'll get away with doing dumb things here and there, and we can get away with not fulfilling our roles, not doing all that. But if you're not a talented team and you're not doing those things, like you're going to continue to lose these games all the time. And that's just where like this team can't close out a single thing. I'm surprised they even close team meetings at this point properly.
All right, let's do Jaxson Dart, because there's going to be a lot of conversation in the coming days about how Brian Dable just threw him to the wolves and this, that, and the other thing. That being said, yes, he's hurt. We love the way Jaxson Dart plays, but Mark, there is some nuance there. There are ways to teach a guy how to slide. Now, that was a called play. It was on the fumble, so it can happen on any given play. But again, that being said, very interesting times in the Dart world, so to speak.
Yeah, there are, and I'll tell you, the injury happened on a bang play, right? It wasn't because he didn't slide. It was because he was trying to make a play. He's trying to go down and got a hit, and ball came loose. He got hurt. But as far as him playing, the time that he came into play, I said this week 1. I said, I don't want to see Jaxson Dart week 1 in the season. I want to see him week 3 or 4, only if the Giants start 0-3 and 0-4. When they started 0-3, there was no upside in that, so he plays. I get it. And since he's been in, he's been very productive. I like the spark. I like the energy. I like his play. I like his moxie. I love it. The team likes it. The fan likes it. Where do we go from here? Because you know there's going to be, now he's in the concussion protocol. That may take a week or 2. Maybe. I don't know. But where do we go from here? Where do the Giants go from here? Well, one thing I do know is this. Russell Wilson is not the answer to be a reliever. He's not. Whether the Giants go, you're going to write this thing out best they can. And I'm almost, and which is hard for me to say, I'm almost at a loss of words because I've seen this team lose some stupid ass games, how they lost, and trying to put wrap my mind around what the coaches are thinking, what the players are thinking, and then without trying to throw a lot of the players under the bus, but those guys got to be held accountable as well, more so than the coaching staff, because the coaches can only put out the playbook and give you the roadmap to do things, but then when the players don't follow it wholeheartedly, and it doesn't come to fruition for it to work, well, you got to blame both. And then the thing that I cannot put a measurement on is how they cannot close games. That's not in the playbook. You got to want to know and know how to close games. And I think if Jaxson Dart was in there, I'm pretty sure that the play calling on offense would have been the same as it was in the starting the second quarter. The RPO stuff, quick passes, whatever. When Russell came in, it was strictly run. And if you watched it, we all watched the game, you notice the Chicago defensive rushers, pass rushers, they started rushing because they know Russell Wilson can't scramble. He's short. He can't throw over. They start blocking passes. It's a whole different team. So, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent, Jay. So, I hope I kind of got your question answered.
Yeah, Brandon, I was going to say, we're going to discuss whether Dart should play the way Dart plays, because it's natural. The guy gets hurt. He gets hit in the head. Many people believe that he's running too much. We're going to have to, unfortunately, dive headfirst into that for these coming days now. To be honest, it's annoying.
Yeah. And frankly, I could see that being a thing for Jaxson Dart's entire career, no matter how long that is. That's a thing. Like, I don't know how often we see guys that we go, oh, yeah, they run recklessly. They don't protect themselves. And then that often changes. I feel like it doesn't change that often. Guys are who they are. I would love it. He slid at a point in this game, so congratulations there, and thank you for that.
His first slide.
Yeah, we all got to watch it. We got to see Jackson's first slide. We'll all put it in a photo album. But I think that the offense with him runs the way that it runs because it needs to. I mean, we saw them. They went under center a lot today, and they almost never did that before that. A ton of play action off of that. Run game wasn't working, but play action helps you. Even if your run game's not working, it helps you even marginally. Just get a little extra second of time, little half second of hesitation there. And so we saw that, but like Mark mentioned, Russell Wilson can't do that. Their offensive plan with Jaxson Dart was, we're going to go under center a ton, and we're going to run play action off of that. And we're going to get him moving, and we're going to get the pocket moving and buy him a little bit more time. And Russell Wilson is not capable of doing that at this point in his career. When he was younger, he was one of the best at it, but he's not anymore. And so once Jaxson Dart was out, that was over. It was over. That offense wasn't going to work. Russell Wilson not mobile enough at this point to make it work. And this is an offense that, like that's where we're at with the talent on this team, is that you need to play that gritty, gross, disgusting style of football and really try to grit and grind for every yard you possibly can, because you can't do anything truly consistently. You're not explosive enough. Like they need to play clean football, and they don't do that at all. And that's just like I said earlier, like you can't make those mistakes when you're bad. Like there's mistakes that you make because you're bad, but there's also mistakes that you can make even while being great, and you just can't get away with them when you're bad. And that's what this team does. Like they play as if they're awesome, where they're like, oh, we could just mess around and do anything. But they shoot themselves in the foot every opportunity they get, and then they reload, or someone else on the team will reload it for them and let them shoot yourself in the foot again. It's just consistent cheddar bob on this team.
All right, we will take our first break of the New York Giants Squad Show. When we return, we got to get into Darius Slayton, a sighting. He actually played football today. How about that? We'll do all that next.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends over there at Peloton. Look, folks, it's time to break through the busiest time of the year with a brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus that's powered by Peloton IQ. It's Peloton's most elevated technology and equipment yet that gives you real-time guidance, and it gives you endless ways to move, whether you want to work out by yourself or if you want to work out with your favorite instructor, like my personal favorite, Alex Toussaint. He always gets me fired up to tackle the day. And the thing I like about Peloton, it helps me achieve more in less times. They have features that help you plan, stay motivated, track your progress, and Peloton IQ also provides personalized workout plans and recommendations. That's something that I use right now during the busiest time of the year covering the NFL. They plan my workouts for me based on my mood, my vibe, and also my favorite instructors. So make sure you check it out and use it, because it also helps you correct your form in real time, and it maximizes your reps. It counts your reps so that you can do it smarter, safer, and more efficient. Let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, we are back and we are ready to go. As we said before the break, Darius Slayton showed up, play some football today. What's interesting is he looked pretty good early. 4 catches, 89 yards. Then it looked like he got hurt. I believe it was a possible hamstring. He did not have another target after that, despite going back into the game. So, Brandon, I'll start with you. Darius Slayton, who, of course, is by default the number one. What happened after those 4 catches?
Yeah, first off, never a good position to be in. That Darius Slayton is your number one. Just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I mean, dinged up, it really kills you when you're trying to push off. I mean, Mark would be way better about explaining what a hamstring can do to you. But yeah, I feel like once he got banged up, it just wasn't happening. Once they had the lead, and they tried to sit on the lead a little bit, but when you're just completely incapable of running the football consistently, you're not going to get that going. And again, once Russ came in, just forget about throwing the football. That just wasn't working at all. So I think that there was a lot that went into it for Darius Slayton to not continue that success. But I will say 4 catches, 89 yards, better than we're seeing from just about any Giants receiver not named Malik Neighbors in the year 2025. And so it's tough to complain there. I think that watching him, when he made the second catch, he just like he looked like he was having fun again. Like he was talking trash or celebrating a little bit. Like he looked like he was having fun. And I like seeing that, because I do think that, losing sucks, but at least if you're having a little more fun, you're going to be engaged. You're going to play better if you're having a good time. I don't get the whole oh, you're losing mope. Let people try to have some fun and try to. I think it elevates their play overall. But after those 4 catches, 4 targets, nothing doing. Passing attack once again kind of went ghost once Jaxson Dart left.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Mark, and we talked about it on the preview show on Thursday with Patricia, obviously no movement at the trade deadline, no receivers added. Obviously, Jaxson Dart is capable of still putting the ball in the end zone, despite the fact that he has no weapons around him. That being said, I mean, this is Slayton, Johnson, Robinson, Singletary, Bellinger, Tracy Olszewski. These are not all-stars.
No, they're not. It sounds like a kind of a make-believe second-tier law firm. But Darius, I mean, I got to give him credit. When you start making those catches, especially that circus catch, that one hand, you can say, Brandon, I agree with you. He started feeling himself. He started, okay, I'm the man. Then he came out with another good catch. I was okay, yeah. So me and my son were watching the game, and we're going, where the hell has this guy been for the last couple of years? So we were feeling it, and then all of a sudden, Dart gets hurt, and then everything goes awry. But even with the high being out, the non-splash play of a receiver, the team is still scoring over 20 points. There's something to be said about that. I'm not saying that the Giants don't need either or. In scouting, we don't need those star players, but they can still score. I just don't know. Well, I do know. The answers right now, since Dart is out, that offense will not be averaging 20-plus points a game. whether it's Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston or Terry Bradshaw, if you bring him back out of return, Phil Simms, it ain't happening. So I don't know what they're going to do. You have two quarterbacks. If Dart's not in there next week, which he probably won't be, I'm not sure. I shouldn't say nothing. I don't know yet. We don't know yet. But if he's not in next week or out for a week or two, the quarterbacks on that roster right now are not the quarterbacks that will get the Giants' offense moving the way it needs to be going, especially without the weapons on the outside.
Brandon, I was going to say 11 targets for Wandale. He had not had a drop, and I was thinking about it. Then he had a drop because, of course, 11 targets for a slot guy seems like a lot. I mean, I know we're nitpicking here, and especially down in the fourth quarter with no Dart. But I think the point is that they don't have any weapons. I mean, that's essentially what the point is.
Yep. No weapons on this team. I mean, Gunnar Olszewski was getting reps out there, and let's also give Gunnar credit for a second. That
Great
pass
strip.
that Dart threw that almost got picked, and Gunnar Olszewski broke it up. That was the best play that we've seen on a ball made by the entire Giants secondary. If Gunnar Olszewski was out there in years at this point. But yeah, there's just no dynamic playmakers on this team right now. I was really hoping that, seeing more from Darius Slayton, because he spent much of his early career when he got drafted out of Auburn. It was like he came in and it's like he can run straight, like he can run vertical downfield, and that's about it. And that's kind of what he did. And we haven't seen much of that from him. We haven't seen anything with any real semblance of consistency from him yet. But with Wandale, you've got a chain mover underneath. With Theo Johnson, you've got a big athlete that you can try to test vertically. Daniel Bellinger, another big dude that is going to play and should play, frankly. Like, you're going with practice squad receivers getting reps every week. You got to go 12 personnel. You got to lean into it, and you kind of just really have to buy into that. But like those guys, they need to be productive pass catchers. Theo Johnson, 7 for 75 is still good. Wandale, honestly, I don't care if you want to give him 10 targets. If he's open and you're giving him the football, or 11 targets, I don't care if you want to make it 30. If he's open and you're giving him the football, then do it. I just hate that so much of his work is wildly inconsistent. You go back to the Cowboys game, and they were sending him up the seam against cover 3, and they were taking those shots, and they were capitalizing on that. I don't remember seeing that since then. I don't remember them sending Wandale up the seam against cover 3 since then. And I promise you, teams have done it. Like, it's not like teams are just like, oh, don't play cover 3 against them. They're really good against it. We just haven't seen that. And so I'd like to see Wandale get the ball in more diverse ways. I don't necessarily say you need to hand it off to him or anything, but don't keep him around the line of scrimmage all the time. Let him go intermediate in breakers. It's just something, because I think that the volume being given without having any kind of a vertical threat from him doesn't matter. Teams are going to let him catch the ball if he's catching the ball 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. And then they're just like, all right, we just need to make the tackle. And if you don't make the tackle, then you have the 15-yard gain that Wandale had in the second half. But teams are going to be fine with you giving him the football a ton as long as they come up and trust themselves to make the tackle.
Mark, if the Giants are without Jaxson Dart, and he's pretty much the only person that can score these days, what the heck, Mark, is the message if we don't have Dart moving forward? I mean, these are two of the worst losses you could possibly imagine late in the fourth quarter. Now you don't have your quarterback. I mean, talk about rough times.
Yeah. And what is going to happen is simply this. The Giants will probably maybe win 1 or 2 more games if he can play. Well, he's going to play. Hopefully he plays for the rest of the season. But if he's out sometime, they may lose the next 1 or 2 games because the offense, and we saw it earlier in the year. I know I said it. I know most of you guys probably said the same thing. This offense is not made for Russell Wilson. It's an RPO offense. you better have a damn mobile quarterback to make it become effective. And we saw the first 3 weeks where the Giants they thought they had the right quarterback in Russell Wilson. I thought so too until I saw game 1 that he's not very mobile. But as we got to week 4, Dart comes in, all of a sudden, the offensive linemen, they didn't get drastically better. You know what I mean? The receivers didn't get nothing drastically just changed overnight, except the quarterback position. And you saw the scoring averages. The scoring average went up, yards per game went up. Everything went up because of the element of the quarterback. Jaxson Dart is starting quarterback, and he's a mobile guy who runs the RPO, and he can throw better than Russell Wilson. So you saw the change. We're going to see it go back in reverse when Russell Wilson becomes the quarterback, and you're going to see a very limited offensive package. You're going to see a lot of drop back. No one's going to honor the play action. Russell's going to get a lot of balls batted down. They're going to keep him in the pocket. They're going to just sack him. It's going to be boring. It's going to be ugly. And then, with that being said, the Giants, at some point, are going to have to rely on the defense to try to get turnovers from other teams to win games. Because at that point, it becomes you're going to have to give a quarterback like Russell Wilson more opportunities, more possessions to get things done. So that's going to be the worst case scenario, in my opinion.
Brandon, you mentioned the amount of road games. I didn't even realize it, and thank you for pointing it out. There's literally 3 road games left. Lions, Pats, I think we can give them losses, both those. The Raiders is an interesting one. As you said, Brandon, there is a very good chance we go into 26 with that road losing skid in losing streak, in tow.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, unless things drastically change, this defense ain't stopping Ashton G&T. So I don't know. I'm just going to be as blunt as possible. Unless things change, this defense ain't stopping Ashton G&T. No one on this defense is covering Brock Bowers, or no one on basically any defense is covering Brock Bowers. So that's not even the run thing. Yes, an insult. Not covering Brock Bowers, not an insult. But that Raiders offense, they're going to be able to score at least a few touchdowns against the Giants. I do not have the same confidence in saying that the Giants offense is going to do that, especially when we don't know who's going to be starting. We don't know what that's going to be like. I will say I would much rather have Jameis Winston playing over Russell Wilson at this point. And Jameis is way more volatile, but he's also the guy that you have under contract for next year. You can figure out if you want to get out of that this offseason. Once Jaxson Dart's good to go, put Jaxson right back in. But until then, I'm just going to say go ahead and go with Jameis. Like, we've seen Russ. We know it doesn't work. Jameis might not work. But what we've seen from Jameis Winston throughout his entire career, no matter which team he's playing for, whether it's the Bucs, the Saints, the Browns, everywhere he's gone, he's made a ton of boneheaded mistakes and boneheaded decisions, but his offense has also scored points. Mm-hmm. And so I think that when you're looking at just what he can give you and what these quarterbacks can give you, I'm fine dealing with the guy that's going to make mistakes. If my options are touchdown or interception or punt or interception at this point, or field goal, like, give me the guy that might actually get into the end zone. And so I'm fine saying, let's see Jameis here. Whenever Jaxson Dart's ready to go, Jaxson Dart's ready to go. But I'd rather see the guy that he's more volatile, but he's going to at least give you a fighting chance to have an offense that can help your defense.
All right. We've picked apart the offense pretty good. We'll do the same with the defense as we take our second break of the show. We'll be right back. All right. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's SAD, software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of business replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. Everything from onboarding to payroll to it, access runs automatically and perfectly in sync. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, their data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Learn more at rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. That's rippling.com/LockedOnNFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, so obviously we featured another fourth quarter collapse today as the Bears beat the Giants 24-20 alongside Mark and Brandon. My name is Jay. Let's focus in on the defense now, which, as we said, Mark, was pretty bad in that fourth quarter. And as we said before we went on the air, it felt like it was coming. You knew it.
Yeah, I felt it, I smelt it, and I dealt with it. But I'll tell you what, collectively, overall, I think they did enough to win until they didn't. There were a couple of plays, a couple of missed tackles. One time it was third and whatever. The Flood came in and he ducked his head and the running back bounced outside. And I always tell, when I coach DBs, see what you hit, even my sons, see what you hit, wrap up, that kind of stuff. He didn't do it. The 91-yard drive, that fourth quarter, that was total, that's heart-wrenching. And as I said earlier in the week, which it's kind of been going on for the last 4 weeks, this is a copycat league. And until you can stop the run, especially on the defensive left, the offensive right, because that's where teams are attacking the Giants when they run the ball. That little stretch play on the outside BC gap. And even today, they have about 3 or 4 runs that went for 20-plus yards. They're attacking that side for a reason. They see something. Now, if I can see it, and you guys can see it, and the fans can see it, well, I'm pretty sure the offensive coordinator sees it because that's what they're running all the time. And you would think the defensive coordinator would see it as well. And do something to stop it. Maybe shift to the strong side or weak side, play gap formation, whatever. Do something. Make the team do something else. They didn't do it. But overall, I think they played well enough to win. They just resorted back to bad habits that make them lose. And that is so frustrating as a defensive person.
Yeah, Brandon, it seems like we do this every Thursday and every Sunday at this point, and that is, why have we not fired Shane Bowen yet? To be fair, it was only 24 points. Yes, it was a fourth quarter collapse, but it's more big picture. It's the fact that we wanted him fired 3 or 4 times already, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I keep looking at this and I'm like, I don't think he's doing a good job. I also don't think that the Giants have a good roster. Like I'm constantly stuck between going, I'm going to blame coaching, I'm going to blame the players, I'm going to blame Joe Shane for building this roster. Like it just feels like an inevitable, like an endless cycle, because all 3 suck at this point. Like that is what it is. By the way, Mark, I feel like we do this every week as well. 10 carries, 68 yards when running outside the right tackle for Chicago. So yeah, there you go there. When there's a tight end on there, that yards per carry goes up by even another 1.5 yards. So yeah, that's what happens with the team. But yeah, I think you're way past the point now of changes need to be made on every level of the coaching staff, at the top, at the coordinators, everything. Yeah, Shane Bowen didn't work out here, going light in the box, great defensive front, and they just can't do it. Linebackers have been, I think, a complete disappointment. Just this whole season. Bobby Okereke, I know he's dealing with a back issue for a lot of the offseason, and just doesn't look like the Bobby Okereke that's signed here. Doesn't look like the Bobby Okereke that was here earlier. It's just, and it's not just him in the linebacker room. It's a lot of guys. Like this just isn't a good linebacker room. They haven't invested in it. Demetrius Flanagan fouls. I don't think he played a great game today, but that was probably some of the better linebacker play that we've seen in a while, just because it's been horrendous all year round.
It's funny because it's literally halfway into the show and we have like 6 people fired, 8 guys cut, this, that, I mean, it's Mark, it's weekly. I mean, it's like, we have done this. We've done this already.
I know, but you know what? And let's do a deeper dive, right? And go to defense, because this could be said about the offense as well. You're only as good as the players you're asking to draft or to go after. So if you give your scouting department the recipe for a player that fits your program, your organization, and they go, okay, this is based on what you're giving me, general manager and coach. I'm going to go to these colleges and go scout the recipe for your team or defense to be successful. These are the players you wanted. And all of a sudden, they get the players in here and draft them. And then they go, well, they're not working out. Now, we're on the other side looking in. So we say the coach should be fired. Yes, I agree. And also because they brought the players that they wanted to work in their system. Also, I got to look at my scouting department as well. Now, I'm pretty sure, now the Giants have been very, very loyal to scouts that's been in the organization. They don't change them out. They'll go through 3 or 4 regimes. Now, I don't know if this crew is from Shane's regime or I don't know. But we talk about trading out coaches and GMs. We better look at that scouting department too, because if that's what they're bringing in, they're telling their scouting department to go get, and this is the end result, then damn it, all those sons of bitches got to go. They got to go.
Yeah. Hey, I agree. Brandon, I saw 2 things today that at first I can't believe I saw. Then I realized I didn't see because it didn't happen. That is a Dexter Lawrence sack and an Abdul Carter sack. I swear, I know I saw both those things happen. And yet I'm looking at the box score here. Nothing. No sacks.
Yeah, I saw the Dexter Lawrence, the sack. And I was like, oh, we finally get to talk about it. And then I see the little flag ticker pop up. And yeah, it was wild. I mean, this is just, I don't know, the pass rush, like they generated a good bit of pressure, right? I feel like if you can pressure a quarterback, according to PFF, 17 times, you can pressure a quarterback 17 times. I feel like I'm okay with that. Like, I don't think that's a bad percentage at all of terms of how often they drop back and how much pressure you generate, but no sacks hurts. And it's different to say, oh, we were pressuring him, but he threw the ball before we got home. We were pressuring him and he threw the ball away, whatever it may be. But consistently, we pressured Caleb Williams. We literally had him in our hands and he escaped. And he extended the play, whether he took off running or he tried to throw the ball. There were quite a few times where he tried to throw the ball. He had open people, but missed the throw because he was throwing from such an off-platform spot. We saw that a lot. Those aren't okay. And that's been a thing that I feel like we see every week with this Giants defense is the pass rush. It's like, oh, they generate so much pressure. But the amount of times that they get into the backfield, hands on a quarterback, and a quarterback escapes them is unacceptable at this point. Kayvon Thibodeau, I'd be willing to bet he had 5 to 7 pressures in this one. And no sacks. It was just, it's tough because if you have a great pass rush, it doesn't matter if the great pass rusher leads to them extending plays, the quarterback extending plays. It matters if you're forcing incompletions. It matters if you're forcing turnovers, if you're forcing throwaways. You're not doing any of that. You're just generating pressure so that you can say you generated pressure and call it a day. You need to actually go finish a play. That's the thing that this defense has been completely incapable of doing. And like you mentioned, like some of that comes down to penalties, right? Both of those sacks got taken off because of other defensive penalties. And at a certain point, you got to just look at someone else in your locker room and go, what the hell is your problem? Like why there's so many penalties, so many guys just look, I don't want to say mentally checked out, but I just mean they look disengaged with some parts of it. And that happens far too often for this team right now. It's just, it's downright awful.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm gonna tell you what I used to do when I played. The reason you get penalties in the secondary, and I know sometimes it has happened, but when you're cerebral and a student of the game, what I've always done, I would marry my coverage based on my pass rush. So Lawrence Taylor, Leonard Marshall, Jim Burt, Carl Banks, I watch those guys on video, and my cut-ups on video, and I'm watching how they rush the passer in certain coverages. They're getting that quarterback in 3 seconds or less. So I'm going, well, if I stand at 8 or 9 yards and backpedal slowly, if the ball's not out by the time that rush gets there, I can always react. The ball's going to be told. I've done that in New York, Kansas City, wherever I've been, I've done that. You got to marry that thing. But these guys, they cover just focusing, this is my man. And they're on the person, and the first thing they do when the guy's running by them or on the same level, they grab. What are you grabbing for? Don't grab. You got time, especially if you watch film, to see what your guys are doing. You got some of the best pass rushers in the effing league. And all you got to do is say, you know what? Let me just sit back a little bit. Let's allow the rush to get there, and that marries to what I'm doing coverage-wise. That quarterback's got to throw the ball. They don't think that way. And I know it's not being taught because I see it, not just with the Giants, see it throughout the whole league. They're not putting it together. So I digress. Anyway, a lot of these guys in the Giants secondary, they're reacting to the situation that's immediately in front of them. And when they react, they grab. And when you grab, that's a sign of panic. And quarterbacks see that, offensive coordinators see that, and they throw the ball at you because they know it's going to be either incomplete or penalty in their favor. And that's why it keeps happening over and over and over with the Giants. And it's sad that nobody in that organization and on that coaching staff is mentioning this to these players. To me, it's easy. And maybe because it's me, but if I can see it and you guys can see it, I'm sure they should be able to see it as well.
All right, good stuff. As we have begun the show in past weeks, it's always about picking up the pieces and licking the wounds. We've done that week after week. We've got one more block to go, and we'll do exactly that coming up next. All right, let's tell you about FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get it on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, final block of the show. As we said, at some point there's going to be firings. And I think it's what we all want or we all expect. Who cares what we want? It's what we all expect to be fired. But that being said, Mark, and I'll leave with you here on this block, there's still a lot to be done. So just because you fire the GM, just because you fire the coach and the DC and the OC and whoever you want to fire, there's still tons of work left to be done.
Oh, absolutely. There's tons of work, and there's tons of other things that's in the fray as well. These players on the roster right now are playing for jobs, not just jobs with the Giants, but jobs throughout the NFL and other teams. Same with coaches, the same with general managers. So there's a lot of pride on the table with that and jobs. Where do they go as far as moving forward? You have no choice but to move forward. Next game, it hurts. I would imagine it hurts immensely for the simple reason how we and all the other prognosticators and fans who are thinking this is a breakout season for the Giants after 10 plus years of crappy football, and then we fall right back into the cesspool of football. It hurts. But as a former player and even as a fan of the game, just like in life, you can't just throw in a towel. That makes it even way worse, not just for you, but for everybody else involved.
It's funny, we want these guys gone because we want to be good. We want to get better. And I think that's the easiest way to start the process. But again, Brandon, the roster is terrible. So just because you fire somebody who made all these bad decisions, and rightfully so, it doesn't mean the problem gets solved right then and there.
Yeah, no, this is, I feel like we're looking at like 2026, probably going to suck too, regardless of who they hire. I think there's a lot of work to be done. I will say that, and again, I'm going to work in this hypothetical under the assumption that Joe Shane, Brian Dable, everyone's out. So whoever's running the team next year will have pieces available, at least. Whoever comes in is going to have Jaxson Dart as their QB1. They're going to have Malik Neighbors as wide receiver 1. They're going to have Andrew Thomas at least on the roster contractually. Who knows what'll happen when new guy, big contract. We'll see what happens. You've got an insane defensive front. Address the secondary, address linebacker, address the rest of your offensive line, which is just across the planet, just lacking talent. But you've got pieces to build off of. So I don't know who the Giants would hire, but I do know that they've got an enticing enough base for their roster. And you've got, we don't know what Jaxson Dart's going to be long-term, but the return so far as a rookie, pretty positive. Like I would say that I was someone who was very openly like, I don't want to see him much. Like in an ideal world, this team's winning enough where you don't have to play him. And that wasn't the case, obviously. But I think that he's been outperforming most people's expectations at this point. I mean, I remember all offseason, everybody just kept going, oh, well, he came from, very, very RPO heavy college offense, and so it's not going to work. He's coming out here and he's balling for a rookie. Like he's playing damn good football. So I don't know when he's going to be long-term, but I feel good enough to say he's shown that he can be a building block. And that's going to be enticing for whoever is going to come in on a coaching staff or a general manager, because you could just go, hey, they already brought him in. If he does hit and if he does work, that makes me look better because I'm going to get to benefit off of that instead of having to go through this process that teams waste decades trying to find their QB. You've got a guy like you have someone that you can genuinely say, we think he's going to be QB1 for a long time. And that's an advantage that the Giants have that not many other teams looking for a head coach will have.
Yeah, it's interesting. They a lot of similarities between what the Bears were going through last year, and then Ben Johnson, the best offensive coordinator, basically had his choice. He went there with the quarterback and not much else. So maybe that's what we'll see next year. But Mark, Tennessee is 1-8. They currently hold the top spot. Then the Saints at 2-8, who of course beat the Giants. Giants are also 2-8. They're currently in the 3 spot for the 2026 NFL draft order. It's amazing that we've got here now. We're already into the top 3, Mark. Amazing.
Isn't that bad? That's sad. That's so sad. But let's fast forward and let's say the Giants are about to draft, right? If the Giants sit at number 3, the first thing I would do if I was general manager, I'm gonna trade out of that 3 spot. I'm getting out of there and trying to get as much draft picks as I can for that spot. Just got to find who to trade with and what my needs are pretty much on the short term, but still stockpile draft picks for that number 3 pick. But anyway, yes, it's amazing that the Giants are here in that position if the draft were tomorrow. Based on what we thought what would happen, we think the Giants would be there. But since they're there, hell, I don't know what else to say. I know how we got here, how they got there. It's just astounding that they're there. It's like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brandon, it's the fact that we're doing Tankathon and we've been doing it for several weeks already, halfway into the season. I mean, it's like, come on. It tells you all you need to know about the Giants season.
Yeah, and Mark, I'll tell you this: if the way that the current draft order is set up, it's Titans, Saints, Giants, Browns, Jets, Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sitting at 3, I'm also trading out. Is the right idea there? I'm calling the Raiders, and I'm saying, do you want to trade up? You've done some work to start building a base.
Yeah,
it hasn't worked out right now. If you want to come get one of these QBs, you can, because with the top 2 picks, it's probably going to be a QB and a rusher of some sort. Say, hey, if you want to get one of these other QBs, a receiver if you want to keep going with Geno, you want to get a receiver for him that's more dynamic, go ahead, offensive lineman to help, whatever it may be. Raiders be the team I'm looking at. That also keeps you ahead of the Commanders, who right now are sitting at 8. So it keeps you ahead of your division rival, gets you draft capital. It's going to get you at least another first-round pick. And also, there's not much for the Giants to draft at top 3. They're not taking a quarterback. They're not going edge rusher. Like let's say hypothetically, because Kayvon Thibodeau was the name that people kept mentioning with the trade deadline. Let's say this offseason you do decide to move on from him. You're not using a top 3 pick on another edge rusher right now to just be your edge 3. So you're not doing that. There's not a corner to take that early. You're not taking like Caleb Downs. You're not spending that pick on a safety. Trade out of 3. There's no value in it right now. If you're the Giants, that's not something that's going to make you better. What will make you better? Add more picks, get a later first, get maybe an additional day 2 pick and a future first, and just have the draft capital needed to get this roster right. Spend more day 2 picks on linebackers, on safeties, on interior offensive linemen. Like spend your picks there, get the value for them. And I do hope that whoever working under the assumption that there's firings there, whoever will be replacing them will actually embrace analytics and roster building, because I don't think that this team's done it enough.
It's interesting. You know, my affinity for the spread. Before today's game, Giants-Packers next week, the number was 7. Now, we don't know exactly what's going on with Jaxson Dart at this point in time. The number is still 7. So obviously there has not been an announcement in regards to a concussion that will cost him time. But again, Giants, Mark, 7-point underdogs against Green Bay in a game that I just don't think they're going to win.
No, I expect it to be higher. You know, if it goes higher, why would it not? I mean, you think about it. I'm not a big gambler. Why would it not go higher? The way the Giants lost today, the way they lost last week and the week before, you would think that thing would be sitting at like 10, minus 10. But Vegas don't do that for some reason. They want to see the money move at some point, but not that fast, that heavily. But if Dart is out and it still stays at 7, I'm going to have to start questioning what's Vegas' motive to keep it at 7. But but you know, will the Giants? Listen, Jam, with you and Brandon, I don't know where you live on this, but I don't think they're going into Lambeau beating the Packers. Yeah, they're good. Even though they're bad, they're good. They'll beat the Giants. So I don't know about the 7, but I'll let you guys discuss that stuff.
Yeah, I was
say-
curious because I thought that the number would have gone up by now. But again, obviously, I'm scrolling Twitter here. Obviously, no announcement's been made in regards to Dart, and that probably won't happen for a while now. But again, Brandon, these are games are just not going to win, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think part of it is that the Giants, at least, in a good deal of games, haven't been getting completely blown out. But also, since, we're talking about the spread specifically, this year, when the Packers are favored by 6.5 or more, they have not covered the spread a single time in those games. They have not covered the spread a single time in those games. They lost to the Browns while favored by 8. They lost to the Panthers while favored by 13.5. Barely beat the Cardinals, barely beat the Bengals, barely beat the Cowboys. So they haven't covered the spread either. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it's all, and also I will say this, coaching wise, Jordan Love and playing wise, LaFleur and Jordan Love typically play way more conservative in games where they're favored by that much. And I would look at that as maybe why they don't cover the spread. If you're coaching to not lose, that's how you lose. So I would say that, and I will also say this for everybody that just heard all the words out of my mouth that just said, "Hey, the Packers don't cover that spread." I ain't touching that damn thing. Okay, I'm not touching that.
It is it's funny because we talked about this on Thursday that NFC North Packers are 5-2-1, Bears after the win are 6-3, Lions are 5-3, Vikings are 4-5. So, and Mark, we discussed this on Thursday with Patricia. Plenty to be decided in that division. So all of these teams have plenty to play for.
Absolutely, that's tight. Did the Vikings win today? They played Baltimore. They lost.
Yep, that's a good question.
Yeah, so there's still a lot to play for, and
Ravens beat the Vikings.
Oh, and they're all good. We're talking about solid playoff caliber teams. So Green Bay has a lot to play for, and they're not going to take the Giants lightly. I mean, they know that especially if Jaxson Dart is playing, that he's very capable to lead this team to scoring points at least. Now, does it come with a victory? That remains to be seen. But he's very well capable to lead the team to move the ball and score. The down part about that is for the Giants, they've also shown the complicity of losing games in the ugliest way. So
they make it hard.
Yeah, that benefits the Packers. So hell, Green Bay has a lot to play for. That NFC North is still up for grabs.
Nothing's going to feel as crummy as the end to the Denver game, but this was a close second. Brandon, those were brutal losses, both of them. You can't compare it to Denver because they played so well for 3 quarters. We all thought they were going to the playoffs. 20 minutes later, the season's over. So it's hard to compare to the Denver loss, but today was pretty bad.
Yeah, that Denver game is why I never felt settled in this one at all. Up by 10, and I was just like, yeah, I've seen them before. Like I've seen this show before. That they don't know how to do it, and so wasn't surprised by it. Even with the Bears, I don't think the Bears are a good team. And so even with the Bears not being a good team, in my opinion, I was like, I don't trust this Giants team to actually close something out. I'm a big fan of prove that you can do something, and then I will believe that you can do it. Close the game out. Do that when you have the opportunity, because you're clearly coaching to not lose these games. Once you get the lead, it feels like your whole purpose is let's not screw this up. Instead of, let's put our foot on their throats, let's keep it up. It feels like their whole point is just let's try to get a couple first downs, kill some clock, and then punt. You're not looking to score points here. Which, by the way, this Giants squad show, That's how you do something well for 60 minutes, New York Giants. Just want to throw that out there for you.
All right.
All right, Mark, last word to you. Big picture. This cannot be easy on anybody. Now they're traveling, supposed to be nasty weather in Chicago. Hopefully they get the heck out of there. Looking at Green Bay next week. Again, message is not easy to get through at this point.
It's not easy, but it's your job. You got to finish. It's not going the way you wanted to go. Have some pride, have some respect, wear the uniform with pride. Just finish strong. One thing I would say this, I'll give it to Brandon. I'm glad they didn't quit. I'm glad I saw some fire still. They didn't lay down. They didn't quit. That's always a good thing.
All right, terrific stuff after another less than terrific day. Of course, the Giants lose to the Bears. They're now 2-8. Bears beat the Giants 24-20 with 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. What a comeback for Chicago. For Mark and Brandon, I am Jay. We will see you Thursday as we preview Week 11 and the Green Bay Packers. Have a great night.